And in the aftermath of October 7th, Hamas leaders are clearly stating that they will commit October 7th again and again and again.
المصرية لازم نقدمها وحنقدمها مرة ثانية وثالثة ومش هذا حتكون طوفان الأقصى أول مرة، لا حتكون ثاني وثالث ورابعة.
Their goal is not political. Their goal is genocidal.
Now listen, man, my faith talk is the word of God. The just shall live by faith.
Hi, and welcome to Ignite Voices TV. Today I have a very special guest, and she is Anat Sultan-Dadon, and she is the Consul General to the Southeast for Israel. And I just finished watching behind the scenes, unedited footage of the atrocities that happened on October 7th when Hamas, there were over 3,000 Hamas terrorists that went in and caused great destruction on Israel. And when you walked out, I didn't even know what to tell her. I said there were no words. I had no words to express the level of grief I felt. And so I just thank you today for being here. And so, Anat, one of the things I wanted to ask you is that there is a narrative going on internationally, but right now we're going to speak to our national audience here in the United States. What do you find is the greatest culprit or the greatest thing that is happening right now to cause people? Because I'm seeing universities, there's protests, pro-Hamas.
I think many of the demonstrations that we're all witnessing globally, including here in the United States, that call themselves or are being framed as pro-Palestinian, there is nothing pro-Palestinian about them. They are demonstrations of hate that have nothing to do with genuinely caring for the Palestinian people. Because if one truly is concerned about the welfare of the Palestinian people, then one should be standing with us in our fight to make sure that Hamas no longer rules the Gaza Strip, that Hamas no longer has the military capabilities, not only to carry out the attack that it carried out on October 7th, but the capabilities to continue oppressing their own people. Because while they are fighting in Israel, they are intentionally using their own people as human shields, intentionally placing their own civilians in harm's way. The Palestinian people deserve to be free of Hamas.
And this is what she's saying is so important, because I'm watching them and they have no conscience. There's no conscience for life. They weren't just killing men and women and children. They were killing pets. I really saw a murderous spirit, to spiritualize it for a moment, is I saw a murderous spirit over this movement. And that's what it is. It's a murderous movement. And so how people in the United States can be saying, pro-Hamas and chanting for Hamas, you're literally chanting for a murderous spirit. I saw a young man call his mom and dad, and he said he killed a woman, a Jewish woman. He had her telephone. He calls his dad, Dad, I just killed 10 people with my own bare hands. Dad, I killed 10 people.
10 Jews.
10 Jews. Specifically 10 Jews with my own hands. And the mom gets on the phone and he says, Mom, I killed 10 Jews with my own hands, and I have the Jewish woman's phone in my hand. And she starts crying, and I pause and I'm thinking, is she going to say, son, what have you done? But this is not the case. These people are being raised in this specific situation with the Hamas terrorists, and their families are being raised to literally slaughter and annihilate the Jews specifically. Now, when they went over there, they weren't just killing Jews, because then they went on a murder frenzy and they started, just killing people in general. But their focus, as we saw one of the interviews, one of the leaders who went on and he was talking about it being necessary that the Jews be put out, and that he said it, got the word here, he said, but basically he said it's an atrocity to allow the Jews to live. This is a genocide, and it feels like we're going back in time again, even with the Holocaust. There's a people group and a leadership out there that is saying the Jews must die.
So Hamas's charter clearly states that their goal is the destruction of the state of Israel and the Jewish people. And that is what their leadership continues to say. And in the aftermath of October 7th, Hamas leaders are clearly stating that they will commit October 7th again and again and again. Their goal is not political. Their goal is genocidal. And anyone who is shamelessly supporting Hamas, these freedom fighters, there is nothing about them that has to do with freedom. They glorify death and destruction. They went on a massacre, on a murder spree, on a rape spree. They systematically raped and mutilated women, girls, the elderly. This is not a question of politics. This is a question of whether one stands for humanity, for life and freedom, or whether one stands on the wrong side of history for terror, for hate, and for the glorification of death.
First of all, you're in a war. You're supposed to be protecting your people or your land. But it's another thing when one of the leaders said, get the dead person and let the boys play with the dead body. Let the boys play with the dead body. And then he said, hang him and crucify him, a dead body. And so when I say it's a murderous spirit, I really want you to understand that I watched a man being beheaded, literally had his head being sawn off, taken away. Like, centuries and centuries ago, they were doing this kind of thing in the biblical times when we read about these stories, and here it is still playing today. History is repeating itself in so many different ways, from centuries down to even the Holocaust to coming so close to home. One life loss is too many, okay? But you said it was 1,200, 1,300?
Over 1,200 who were massacred that day, the largest number of Jews massacred in a single day since the Holocaust.
And this is atrocious. It's egregious. And as we're wrapping up here, and I already asked this during our press talk, is Anat, what is your opinion? And I said, in schools, I'm noticing that they're trying to do away with the history of the Holocaust. They're trying to diminish it, and they're trying to make it like, we don't want to really talk about these kind of things, or for whatever reason. I think it's demonic, honestly. But what is your opinion about the fact that there are school systems that are diminishing away with the story of Holocaust? Even we're talking about indoctrination here for the people, in the Palestine nations, but what about the indoctrination that is happening here for the same purpose? The end result is to diminish what happened to Israel.
I think that globally, we must educate ourselves about history in order to be able to learn from the lessons of the past. It is crucial, if we are truly committed to never repeating the atrocities that we have already gone through in history. It is not good enough on Holocaust Remembrance Day or on Holocaust commemorations to declare never again. It is crucial to get acquainted with history, to learn what it is that occurred during the Holocaust and what was the price of so many in the international community, so many who stood by and were silent while these atrocities were being committed. Silence is not an option, because silence is complicity. And today we all should be asking ourselves, not what would we have done 80 years ago in Europe? We should be asking ourselves, what are we doing today? And we should be asking others, where do they stand today? Because if they are not standing clearly for humanity, for life, against terror, against hatred, against evil, then they are standing on the wrong side of history.
Thank you so much, Anat. And that is so powerful. There's a saying that says, if you won't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And people who are falling for the lie that Hamas is at all justified in this act is absolutely atrocious. And it is mind-bending to me.
There is no justification for rape, torture, slaughtering innocent people, slaughtering babies, children, women, men. There is no context or justification for kidnapping and holding hostage. We still have a 1-year-old baby being held hostage in captivity. Holocaust survivors who survived hell on earth met hell again in the face of Hamas's terror. There is no context and no justification for evil.
The footage that I saw was taken from the terrorists. It was taken from the Hamas attackers. They were glorying in this bloodshed. They were glorying in the murder of babies. I saw baby bodies. I saw every level. I saw a dad, and as we're closing up, I saw a dad with his 2 sons go into a space. I'm assuming he probably went to cover his children, knowing that trouble was coming, and they threw in a bomb, and the dad flew off of the 2 young boys, and the boys were about maybe 8 and 12, and those were the images I seen today. This is not propaganda. This is not a lie. These people are doing it to kill, to steal, and to destroy Israel. This is not a humanitarian issue for them. This is a humanitarian issue for the world and for Israel because they are being targeted. And so I just want to thank you for watching today. I hope this changed your mind about how you're seeing the issues here taking place in Israel. And I hope that you would do your best to support financially, speak out, don't be silent, be a voice. Anat, where can they reach you?
So anyone is welcome to email us. We're available at email address info@atlanta.mfa.gov.il. You can also look for the Consulate General of Israel in Atlanta. We're available on social media. We have a daily newsletter that we send with updates and information about the current situation. And I think that it is crucial for all of us to get educated and better acquainted with the reality of what is going on.
Does your site have places where maybe they can financially contribute to any of the families, or is there anything like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. And our daily newsletter includes also links to where people can go if they want to contribute, if they want to help. And of course, we always encourage those who want to support to also travel to Israel and support Israel by going there.
Don't be afraid, be proactive, be a voice. I'm EmmaSara. Remember, go out and blaze change. Thank you for watching. Before you know it, it is that little ember that starts a whole fire across our nation of voices that will not remain silent because our nation is in crisis.
Yeah, a fire does need to be started in the voice of the citizens.
It's heartbreaking that our country is getting destroyed.
People don't realize how bad it is.
It is insane what is happening.
It is speaking the truth and bringing light into darkness.
Ignite Voices is bringing different voices in who are saying enough is enough.
How can we sit back and complain when we see our country collapsing, one community after other?
Not even a red or blue issue, it's a red, white, and blue issue.
And we believe in freedom.
We are diverting the lie that we should hate our nation, that we should not understand who we are as a people. It is causing confusion in the heart of humanity.
I saw this terrifying agenda take over our public schools.
That all sounds very negative, but here's the good news. You are set free.
That's exactly it. You do have power in the society. It's not too late.
Expose what's going on here in our country.
It's to get to the mothers to protect the kids,
so that we don't pass those problems to our children.
You want to take action.
So the only answer to hate speech or bad speech is more speech?
Within that is the freedom of religion. Without expression, the right to discuss our ideas and differences, we would get nowhere.
And why is it so important that individuals share this message?
Because individuals build families, families form communities, and communities, they shape nations. That's why it's important for us to continue to keep this torch lit.
And that's what we're doing. We are here to shift the culture's narrative. We're here to blaze change. I'm Vaughn Kensington.
I'm EmmaSara,
host of the Ignite Voices TV show. Remember, keep that torch lit. Go to ignitevoices.com. Go out and blaze change.
I really can't put a price on peace of mind. And with everything going on, I mean, a lot of people are just very uncertain about where we're headed. They are concerned about, the longevity of this great country. And that's a scary thing. And I think the biggest way to take that back is by educating, by not participating in the system. And, the simplest way I can put that in terms for everybody to understand is to do what the big banks are doing. If they're not going to be selling you precious metals, but they're buying precious metals in large quantities, that's really got to tell you something. And the thing about this is I think a lot of people just think, oh, it's just money, it's just this, it's just that, but it's really not just money. It's about what that represents to you. That's freedom, blood, sweat, and tears that went into making sure you had something set up for you and your family to fall back on, and then to think about what we saw in 2008, it could all, snap or change in the blink of an eye. And unfortunately, a lot of people in 2008, they were unprepared for that. And that's really the biggest goal here, is to just make people feel like they're prepared, educate them on their options so that they know there is another way out. There is another way to do this, and it can bring you to success.
The host of the Ignite Voices TV show, but we also have a second show, the Mother of Change show, and I'm the founder and the president of the Mother of Change Foundation. Our goal is to impact families across the globe, but especially in our nation. On Kensington, our nation is in a crisis.
Yeah, our nation is in a crisis, and that's kind of why we started Ignite Voices TV, right?
I mean, for so long, people were, we went through a season where everybody was wearing, a mask, and their mouths were being silenced, their person was being covered. And Ignite Voices is a platform and a TV show for voices to come together so that we can ignite them. We don't want to cover the voices, we want to ignite the voices so that they can be bold and blaze change. And not just not just within their city, but I want one voice to ignite another voice, that ignites another voice, and before you know it, it is that little ember that starts a whole fire across our nation of voices that will not remain silent, because our nation is in crisis.
Yeah, a fire does need to be started in the voice of the citizens. So, what do you think is the biggest lie American parents are being taught right now?
First of all, who said that the public school system was the place to raise our kids in? Who said that was the best place to educate our kids in? When you look back on the history of how the school systems were built and why they were built to create a system of basically training our kids to be on an assembly line, to be assembly line workers that didn't have the position to have places of authority. They wanted them to be subjective, submissive, and be used to just going along with not breaking status quo. And so forever now, we're at this place, Von Kensington, where that was the original intent, was to create assembly line workers and to indoctrinate children. But we know that after decades now, the infiltration of the indoctrination has gone into Sodom now. It's gone into teaching kids not only about corruption and about evolution and about false science, but now it's gone on to tell them about a falsehood about who we are as human beings. We're men and we're women. We're not what we want to be. God has created us either men or women. And when we have a school system that's telling them you can be whatever you want to be, before you know it, somebody's going to say, I want to be a rainbow, not just wear a rainbow flag. I am a rainbow. Yep. And, we know that the kids are the victims here, and I'm not putting down the people who are actually the victims of the school system. I want to reach the people who've been in the school systems, whether it's, the younger people or the parents of the younger people. We have to tell them who said it was the best place for your kids, who said that you weren't qualified to raise your kids, who said that you weren't qualified to educate your kids. I mean, we have 8 kids in our family, and you guys have all been homeschooled. And, I did it according to just your individual gifts, talents, and your passions. And you guys have done some amazing things. And, it's my goal that other parents will be able to see that they are qualified and they can do the same.
I think that's kind of a thing that's leading to the fall of American homes right now. Now they're changing the doctrine in order to for political gain. So, now they're trying to indoctrinate them so they can, get more votes. And so before we end here, our tagline is shifting the culture's narrative and blazing change. Can you tell me, what does that mean?
Shifting the culture's narrative, like I said, Von Kensington, for decades, for centuries, there has been a narrative that has been pushed. It has been shoved by social media, by the news, by different outlets. There is something that is constantly, there's always an agenda. There's always an agenda. And the question is that what are we going to do as a TV show? We're going to create that is founded on truth, on biblical principles. We're going to get people together. And this is the thing, Von Kensington, we're people of faith, but this is where we're at in society, is that we have to uplift morality. And Ignite Voices is about uplifting a morality, but also creating change in society. And we're not always going to be the same faith. Okay, but we can all agree that God's ways work for all people. And so all children should be protected. Marriage should be valued. men are men, women are women, and when we can come together as a commonality and have a common goal to just uplift society, we have to start somewhere, and the foundation and the structure of society is so broken. When a woman doesn't know she's a woman, and I seen a show where a girl was saying that she identified as a frog. I mean, where does the madness end? If we don't stop this now, where is society going to be when people are starting to think they're animals? I mean, where are we going if we don't pull back and come together with a common goal of just reestablishing truth in our society? Men are men, women are women. Let's start with some foundational principles, have guests on our show that are going to ignite the voices to protect our nation. And I'll tell you this right now, our society is being raised and indoctrinated to be nation haters, okay? That is a self-imploding, destructive mindset that is being sown into this nation, and we're coming together with Ignite Voices to say enough is enough. It is madness to curse the ground that you live on. It's madness to curse the why would you want to curse the field where your family is going to grow their food? Okay, this is our soil. Our families live here. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. I am proud of this nation not because of what's going on in it, because my family lives in it. And I'm going to protect this nation by having this TV show, Ignite Voices. We're protecting this nation by getting truth out, coming over, and we are diverting the lie, all right, that we should hate our nation, that we should not understand who we are as a people, the lie that kids should go to public school. Ignite Voices is bringing different voices in who are saying enough is enough.
That's exactly it. You guys heard it here first. We're out here. We're going to shift the culture's narrative. We're going to blaze change. So remember, you guys, whatever you do not stand down. Do not hold yourself back. You do have power in the society. It's not too late. We have a big voice. We can ignite voices around all of us. So remember, go out and blaze change.
Thank you.
I think that the hostage, the one that was taken hostage, is the bad guy, and that Hamas, the atrocious terrorist that did the most evil and atrocious things you can ever imagine, is somehow good. This misunderstanding cannot be allowed. It's destroying our very fat fiber of our society. And these college campuses are so confused.
Hi, I'm here at NRB, and I have a special guest that we just ran into right now, Joshua Waller, and he is from the Israel guys, and he is from Israel. You came down from Israel?
I'm from Israel.
When did you get here?
Just on Friday.
Okay, this is so important that I just ran into him because I just got through watching a behind the scenes of the Hamas terrorists, the uncut footage. It was, I'm going to be interviewing the consul a minute here, and I just told her I have no words.
Yeah.
I said I have no words. I didn't know what to say because I don't think that people understand what really happened. There's a lot of people who are, they're sitting here cheering for Hamas. When I see universities getting together and they're protesting in favor of Hamas, how does that make you feel with your feet on the ground, seeing firsthand what's been going on over there?
Well, I think it just makes me realize the fact that there's so much misinformation. These people think they're making the right decision. And so the importance of people shedding the truth and the light. If you look on TikTok, there's one pro-Israel view to 50 pro-Arab and pro-Hamas views. So that's the evidence of that is what we see on college campuses. They see it and they believe what they're seeing. So now for us, those that are putting content out there, it's so important that we speak the truth, and two, that they can't. This misunderstanding cannot be allowed. It's destroying our very fat fiber of our society. When you think that the hostage, the one that was taken hostage, is the bad guy, and that Hamas, the atrocious terrorist that did the most evil and atrocious things you can ever imagine, is somehow good. Like, the world and these college campuses are so confused that we have to just continue to speak and share, like what we're doing now, and seeing these films, as horrible as it is, to understand what actually happened, and then to be sure that the world knows there is good and there is evil, and Hamas and what they've done is evil.
One of the things that I wrote down here, and this is what's important to understand, is a lot of people are saying, oh, they deserve the land, or they should have a right to the land. But what people have to understand is, I wrote down multiple times, I didn't write it all down, but I just wanted to share some of these sound bites that I got with you. But specifically, they were saying, praise Allah. Okay, they were saying, as they killed and murdered people, they were just continually saying, Allah is God. And you might say, EmmaSara, don't make this about religion, but I'm saying what I saw on the unedited, okay? As they were murdering, this film had 139 bodies that we saw that were murdered, okay? Allah is great. Curse God, dishonor you as they're murdering, kill the Jew. They said, praise God, curse Israel. And they were calling the people dogs as they were murdering them. And so if you can just shed a little light on this, and we've gotten to the place where people don't want to talk about politics, and they don't want to admit, we shouldn't say something terrible about, this religious situation, because not all people are the same. We're not saying that, but they have an agenda.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very clear. We're a Western world is trying to cover up what's actually happening. The fact is that jihad is what happened. Jihad is holy war. If you even look at what the Muslims call this war and look at what the West calls it, we call it the October 7th attack, right? The massacre on Jews, the worst massacre that's happened since the Holocaust of Jewish people. They don't call it October 7th. No, they don't say that at all. They call it the Al-Aqsa flood. The Al-Aqsa is the mosque on the Temple Mount. So this all goes back to them. It is holy war. It is jihad. And for them, it's a flood. They're saying that the Jews, and they're very pointed on this, the Temple Mount, a place of worship for the Jewish people for thousands of years, banned for Jewish prayer. That's the crux of their whole war, is to annihilate the Jewish population. Never will there be a Jew to pray here. And that's where actually the attack there for them. The holy war of jihad all goes back to Jerusalem. It goes back specifically to the Temple Mount. So you're exactly right. The reason why they're doing this attack is religiously motivated. It's not just a couple crooks. No, the whole entity, the Islamic world, was fueled in their aggression to annihilate the people of Israel. You have 7 million Jews living in Israel, surrounded by 400 million Arabs. With this kind of mindset, whether they're how barbaric they are is obviously a chain, but they believe in the destruction of the state of Israel and the creation of an Arab state there.
And if you don't believe him, I watched with my own eyes. One of the soldiers actually called his dad, and he called his dad, and he was saying, Dad, I killed. He's like, I got a Jewish woman's phone. I have her phone. I just killed 10 men, or 10 of them with my own hands. And he said, Mom, can you hear me? Mom, I killed 10 with my own hands. In my heart, the mom started crying. And I thought, is the mom going to say, son, what have you done? But that wasn't the case. And you have to understand that they are proud. And this is not about land. This is literally a holy war for them. And so we have to, see this. It's humanity. There was children, men, women, dogs. They were shooting their pets. I mean, this is completely, like you said, barbaric. But just as we're wrapping up here, what would be something that you'd want to tell the public here in the U.S.? What is something that we can do to change? Because they're being indoctrinated, but in a sense, there is an indoctrination going on even in our own nation.
Yeah. Well, it's time to engage. As long as we sit by quietly, this will continue to ravage our nation. I believe still that America is pro-Israel. The American people love the people of Israel. We're a free nation that loves freedom. And we don't stand for terrorism. We don't stand for the horrific thing that you just witnessed on these videos. The American people don't stand for that. We have been taken over by a radical regime ourselves that is actually somehow promoting some of these things and trying to decide whether Hamas is good or evil, which is unacceptable. The American people don't accept that. But we do have major networks that are influencing our young people. It still doesn't represent the majority, but it looks like it does. And so what we have to do now is to be sure to promote the truth, to speak the truth out loud, and not be afraid of it, because the majority of America does stand with Israel and stands with freedom. And we have to continue to represent that and pray to God that we can see deliverance from these evil times that we are witnessing right now.
Well, thank you so much for watching. And that's what we are here for. We're here to shift the culture's narrative here at Ignite Voices TV. So Joshua, can you let me know where they can find out more information about you?
Sure. Just theisraelguys.com. And we're on all the social media platforms as well as the Israel Guys.
So go check them out. They have excellent content. If you want to learn more about Israel, that's a perfect place to learn the behind the scenes on the Israel side from these guys, because they also have, I love that you also do a biblical perspective on it, the things that you're doing. So that's a little plug for them. So that's it. I'm EmmaSara. Remember, y'all, go out and blaze change.